Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. How's everyone doing today? Good to see you all in here. We're gonna have another great session today. So a lot going on in the markets that I'm keeping an eye on. We also had some of our trade setups that hit from yesterday's session. So gonna do some recapping of that. Some of them worked for a little bit. Not sure if any of you guys got that gap filled trade that we discussed yesterday, where we were looking for our buy territory, like base group of candles for the short trade setup, but we did get a nice move off that. So for those of you who are interested in learning that, I'm gonna just kind of go over that in a little more detail today. Very good, Chris, thank you. Yeah, good to see everyone. So tomorrow is our first traders coaching event. So excited for this one. So again, this one was based off of a lot of those emails that you guys sent in to us requesting some more Q&A time, some time to go over your chart and trade setups. So this class is going to be devoted to that, as well as going over a lot of the trade setups that happen during our live trading room. So a lot going to be happening during this event. It's tomorrow from 4 to 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. So if you haven't signed up yet, I'm going to include the link in the chat for you guys. And if you have signed up, so more of you have been signing up, make sure that you do send in your charts and emails, your chart and trade setups to theelitetrade@gmail.com. So once we get those, we'll include them in tomorrow's presentation. Again, if you haven't signed up, there's the link, and just make sure that you send in your charts so that you get the full benefit from the course. And then mastering the charts, that one's going to be next month, but get ready for that one. Going to be an in-depth 3 days as far as training your eyes as far as what to look at on the price charts. All right, so definitely want to jump right into it. We have our updated buy and sell territories over here on the left-hand side. Again, if they have the asterisks next to the time frame, they're going to be the same as they were in yesterday's session. Updated ones aren't going to have the asterisks next to them. Trading tip of the day. So with the equity index futures still in a higher time frame downtrend, we may be looking at the next impulse move to the downside. So we've been seeing the market steadily moving to the upside. That's where I like to hone in and just keep an eye on that to see if we start to get that next impulse move to the downside, staying with more of the higher time frame downtrend. So as such, look for price to intersect with our sell territories or for our breakout trades to the downside to participate in the larger time frame trend. Also, another tip, I do want to point out just one main thing that I want you guys to take away from today's session is just where we're at on the price charts. There's been a lot of consolidation over the past few days. So visualizing how much time price has spent where it's at right now on the equity index futures is going to be important, because choosing buy and sell territories within that consolidation is going to be a little bit more elevated risk. Stock picks, you have the 2 from Monday and Tuesday, and then we have a new one for today. It's going to be AR, and I'll show you that on the next screen. And then what's in the news, still a little bit more on the bearish side, which I'm leaning towards as well, just based off of, again, these larger time frame moves to the downside. So market watch, S&P 500 hovers near bear market. So we're on that brink right now. And then Yahoo Finance, US futures wobble ahead of Fed minutes. So that is going to be coming out. You'll see down here under our economic report section, FOMC minutes is going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern time. We also have oil report at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. So for those of you who have been here, you know what I'm going to ask, but what is the average move that we typically like to look for on the oil report? Yeah, absolutely, Scott. It's been a little hazy though here, not used to as big of the sandstorms as we get in Arizona. So very interesting. Yes, 55 ticks on the oil report. So we'll keep an eye on that for looking for a price to either intersect with a buy territory or a sell territory that lines up with that 55 tick move. And then again, FOMC minutes, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Breakout trade opportunities, looking at more of the short sides, there are potential ones to the long side. I didn't put them on here again just because the trend is to the downside. So I'm leaning more towards the short trade setups where we're seeing the 3 touches coming into play. So wanted to point out this one. Did anyone get into the Russell trade that hit from our recap screen yesterday? So we had our entry 1778 and our stop at 1781.8. So relatively small sell territory, and we can see that price came back up into it. We had that breakout in yesterday's session, and then during the overnight session is when price came back up into that sell territory. Anyone get into the Russell or any of the other buy and sell territories we had set up? Maybe not, because this was, yeah, pretty late in the evening. Oh, Daniel got the buy. Nice job. Yeah, so sell territory. If you didn't get into it, the main thing I want you guys to see is just the picture on the price charts, which is so important, where we can see we had 1 touch, 2 touch, 3, 4, 5 touches, that support area. We had the breakout. So then if we miss the breakout, we're looking for price to return back above that support area for our short trade opportunity. So all about the picture on the price charts, and just really like this picture on the Russell. And then our stock picks. So we had Mondays, Tuesdays, and then today's complimentary stock pick is Antero Resources. Entry is going to be at $40.40. Stop is going to be at $35.14. And then target price, initial target price, again, just based on market conditions, targeting a 1-to-1, you're going to be looking at $45.07. And then as always, we'll recap at the end to look for open buy and sell opportunities. So now pre-market, pretty much covered that based on the news, a little bit more on the bearish side. You can see even here's the signal for investors from the deep pessimism. S&P hovers near bear market. So overall, still very bearish. And again, looking for those setups, trading with the trend and participating to potential more downside move. And then Econo Day we went over. So again, we'll keep an eye on oil report at 10:30 Eastern time. Fed chairman's going to be a little bit later at 12:15 p.m. Eastern time. And then FOMC minutes at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Alrighty, now jumping over to the charts, starting with oil. So just wanted to show you a little bit bigger picture on the 30-minute time frame that we have been spending a lot of time in this area. We had our 9-minute sell territory that's been tested once, and then it tested the second time just a few hours ago. So potential breakout opportunity to the upside once we break above the sell territory, which would be above 111.79. Also do want to keep an eye on these support areas, which also have been tested several times as well. So we can see the green box here is where price tested oil several times. And then also a little bit higher up, we can see price has been testing right in here. We have this wick over wick right here. Price came down once, twice. So potentially if we do get a third time, we may actually see more momentum to the downside with this sell territory still holding right now. But currently we're just in this consolidated range going back and forth between all the buy tickets down here, sell tickets up here. So really just waiting to see where price is going to break out to, whether it's the upside or to the downside. That's going to be oil, keeping an eye on those breakout opportunities. If price does break out to the upside, just keep an eye on this area right over here on the left-hand side, where we can also see that 3 touches of support, and we have the leg base group of candles just above. That's going to be at 114.8 with our stop at 115.54. And then if we do break out to the downside, keep in mind there's also a bit of a pocket of points over here where there's not a whole lot in the way. Let's see, there we go. So if price does break the support area, not a whole lot down here, this is going to be more of a pivot point versus a buy territory. So just keep in mind breakouts either to the upside, we're looking at our sell territory up here. If price does look to move lower and start to break these support areas, we could see more momentum to the downside. Okay, starting with S&P now. On the daily charts, we did break the prior session's high. However, keep in mind, just looking back on the daily chart, we're still in this larger time frame downtrend, as I mentioned. So the trading tip of the day was that if this is the next impulse move to the downside, you can see we had a high here, we had a low, we had a lower high from this previous high, and we made a lower low. Price rallied up. So now potentially we could see another impulse move to the downside. That's where I just want to be a little bit cautious currently based off of where we're at and this potentially being a corrective move to the upside. Smaller time frames, let's go to the 15-minute. I mentioned there's one key thing that I really want you guys to just understand based on the past week or so as far as what price has been doing, but look at how much time price has spent in this entire area. So I'm on S&P on the 15-minute time frame, and this is 1 week's worth of price action. We can see price has been in here for a very long time, a lot of those orders being filled up. So in general, choosing our buy and sell territories within this area is going to be a little bit more elevated risk. Typically, we want to look outside these areas. So just want you to keep that in mind, always take a step back and look at the bigger picture and seeing that consolidation. Now we did have, so I left it on here, but just wanted to show you, just how cool it is to see that where price will sometimes stop in the middle of a gap. So we had our 1 minute sell territory. Anyone grab the short trade entry? It was at the end of the regular trading session yesterday. But did anyone grab that trade off of our 1 minute sell territory? This one I missed too, but we can see when we're looking for why price stopped here, it was in the middle of the gap, but that's where we want to look for the flip of what we normally look for as far as the leg base group of candles. So looking for our buy territory, leg base group of candles. That's why often price comes up into these gaps and changes direction. So I'm going to remove that now. I just want to show you that something to look for when you do see gaps in price is to look for the inverse of what you normally look for. So currently now we have a sell territory still out there, our 1 minute sell territory at the origin of this move to the downside. That one is going to be on the prep screen. Let's see. Yeah, that one's at 3978.75. And then our stop's going to be at 3982.5. That one at the origin of that move to the downside hasn't been tested yet. Was looking for potential breakout opportunity if this is going to be the next impulse move to the downside, but wasn't able to find the 3 touches. And we still have this remaining pocket of points over here where if we do start to push lower, we could see price intercept with our 2 minute buy territory down here. That's going to be at 38.23. Again, if you are choosing buy and sell territories in this area, just again, make sure, take a step back and look at how much time price has been consolidating in this area already. So that is S&P. So for me, I'm really just waiting right now since I don't really have the 3 touches on the top side or the bottom side. We're in more of a downtrend, but I'm not really seeing a good entry point. If we do see the 3 touches start to form, then we may look to take the breakout to the downside. NASDAQ. So NASDAQ is going to be an inside day. We can see we haven't broken the prior session's high or the prior session's low. So inside day, more consolidation, going to be a little bit more elevated risk. And as we've seen the past week, just a lot of consolidation overall. 15-minute time frame. So we can see this upper area has been tested several times, potential breakout above these highs, but we have that gap fill on the NASDAQ that hasn't been tested yet. So we have the 1 minute on the S&P, that one had been tested already. We got a small move off that. NASDAQ hasn't hit yet, but that's going to be right above that potential breakout point there. Buy territory did hold, so we had our 10-minute buy territory yesterday. Price dropped right into it, got a nice move to the upside. Again, that was more of a counter trend trade, so a little bit more elevated risk. Now price coming back down. This area has already been used up partially. Some of those orders have been filled, so wanted to go back further to find our next target, which is going to be a lot further away. I'll just bring up the prep screen again. But looking down, 1,245 be the next target price. So not a place to buy since we are still in this larger time frame downtrend, but looking for a potential target if we do find a way to get in short. This area has been tested once. If we come back down, tested a second time, then we may look on the third time, looking for the breakout and then the leg base group of candles to manage our risk. So that's NASDAQ, Russell. Again, look at all this consolidation and choppiness. So it's hard to pick a direction and choose whether to buy or sell in this area, since we're just going back and forth between the buy orders down here, sell orders up here. So it's a lot choppier market conditions. So inside day, just understanding that and managing your risk very closely. 15-minute time frame. So this was the sell territory. Not sure if anyone got it, but great trade. And if, again, you didn't get it, just seeing the picture on the price charts is super important. Seeing how, again, we had that support level, the 3 touches, we had the break, and then price came back up to find that leg base group of candles, and now is moving back down. Our buy territory did overshoot it a little bit, so you would have had to have a couple or a little extra wiggle room to place your stop, but then may have been able to get back in on a confirmation entry. Now this area has been tested once, price coming back down. If we test it a second time, a third time, that's when we'll start looking for the breakout. And then also just seeing that this area up here, you'll notice we have several touches here. This whole range has been tested many, many times. So potential breakout above this point. I didn't include it on the prep screen though, just because it would be a counter trend breakout. So as we know, those are going to be more elevated risk, and taking the breakout above here, we don't have much profit potential either because we have this 5-minute sell territory. And then that one's going to be at 1812.1. Again, overall, just looking at this picture and seeing how consolidated price has been, just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So any buy and sell territories in this area is just going to be a little bit more elevated risk. And then going over to the Dow. So Dow, we did break the prior session's high. And then in that case, we're typically looking for more trending opportunities to the upside. But just looking left, we can see we've still been making lower highs, lower lows. So this could, again, be the next corrective move that we had as price rallied higher. And then we may get another impulse move to the downside that takes out these buy territories. So buy territory is going to be profit targets and just going to be a little bit more elevated risk. 15-minute time frame. So I'm keeping an eye down here on the Dow where we've tested this area once, twice, 3 times already. I saw price start to come back down. This is going to be a key area that I'm looking at to see if we do start to hit this area again, find some more buy orders, form the leg base to then take the breakout into where we still have this pocket of points right over here. So potential room to run below that support level. And then we still have this 5-minute buy territory formed on higher volume. That one target is going to be at 37.91. We're really just keeping an eye on if the Dow continues to go down. We have this support area that's been tested. And then we also have our pocket of points, which is a little bit smaller now. We've gone up to here. Looks like we have the 3 touches on the top side as well. Right in here where price has used up those sell orders several times. So price breaking higher, we still have that pocket of points to the left. But again, for me, that's going to be going counter trend, and that's going to be taking on additional risk as well. So now going over to the indexes, looking for the correlations, we do seem to have that. So all the equity indexes are moving to the downside in conjunction with the trend. So it makes sense. Equity index is moving down. We can see bonds are moving higher. We're seeing that inverse correlation. So check for that. Internals, so we'll keep an eye on this once the market opens. If the markets do start having a big drop to the downside and the trend moves higher, that could mean that there's some buying coming into play. But just keep in mind price charts in the higher time frame with the trend still being to the downside. Even if the trend spikes up indicating buying, we still may see some selling pressure coming into play. And then lastly, pre-market indicator. So we had another gap down in the pre-market. So gap down, meaning there's more down ticks and down volume in the pre-market. So a little bit more bearish sentiment. Overall, seeing a lot more bearish sentiment between the pre-market indicator, the news, the higher time frame trend. So really just being cautious with the long trade opportunities, just understanding that those are going to be additional risk, and really focusing on if this is going to be the next impulse move to the downside, we'll be looking for our short trade opportunities, rallies into our sell territories, or taking breakouts to the downside. Alrighty, Jeff, I'm passing it back over to you to see what you've got in store for us today. Thank you, guys.
Well, good morning, everybody. We've had a couple of really good days in the market, at least in the live trading room, where we've had some really nice good setups. So we've had 2 good days, and today I'm sure that you kind of think, well, everything's not the same as it was the last couple of days. And that's true, it's not, okay? So each day is new. That's why we have our new zones plotted. We do our pre-market routine. We put our information together, and then we come up with where we're going to look for some of those short-term trades. Couple of things that on the larger time frame charts as we get through, look what the last couple of days have been doing. Okay, this is extremely difficult markets to trade. Okay, if you hold a position overnight, if you all of a sudden you're giving back everything that you made and more. So understanding the bigger picture, bigger time frame, direction of trend, but also understanding what is going on sideways action here, okay? So anytime that we're at a turning point or potential turning point, okay? I say potential because the trend is still to the downside, and things could get going a little bit further in that direction, okay? Looks like I got filled on crude oil. Yeah. All right, so took crude oil, the open range breakout, okay, was going right into a buy territory. So I decided to take the buy territory, then try and take the open range breakout trade, okay? Now I'm not looking to make a whole lot on this. The entry was at 110.44, stop loss at 110.22, okay? Now this is a little easier. I'm trading a couple of micros, half a position. If you were trading one one contract of the crude oil futures, it's $10 per tick, and you can grab quite a bit off of that. I mean, in just small moves, you can do pretty good. Of course, you need all the the margin and the ability to do that. With this current trade on crude oil, taking a trade in the direction of a higher time frame trend. Okay, we've made higher lows, made higher highs. Okay, and just kind of giving you that observation of why I took the trade in that direction. Understanding the risk is involved, and if price goes through this area, we're looking for another opportunity to go long. Actually, the trend on a 30-minute chart, a little higher time frame, will be in question at that point. So we have to reevaluate our larger time frames once we get to that lower level, 109.25. Okay. Gold, we're still in gold. We entered over here where I have a stop market at last week, and just working our way through the dead space. This is also a challenge. I mean, we were up really nice yesterday, and now it's pulled back. Still hasn't completed its move to the other side of the dead space. These pullbacks can often disrupt that longer term objective because you get a little flighty, or you like to, you see the dollar amount on the trade. Everybody should be prepared to take a profit or take a stop out on these as well. And what I'm trying to get at is we need to start looking at, staying trades longer when we have a major corrective move, okay? And look to stay, especially when we have the dead space or a pocket of points in there, we need to really observe and monitor all of that. Starting with the S&P. S&P is smaller time frame. I would say the trend is starting to change. Okay, let's just maximize my chart. See, this is potentially a nice little reversal area. And as we're looking at the larger time frames, we do have a break above the 39.85 area. We're going right into that pocket of points, which should take us up to a first target of 4,075 and then 41.16. Who knows? Maybe the Fed will come and say something to drive these markets back to the upside. Okay, I'm sure they're doing a lot of buying. Oh, by the way, dashboard. Here we go. Before we get too carried away there, the bonds. There's a nice little trade set up on the bonds. Okay, and I want to, this is a little tricky, but if you go back and look at some of our most recent 90-minute sessions where we talk about the dead space, we talk about the pocket of points. Okay. Notice how price broke above the resistance on the bonds, started going sideways. And if it breaks that little support right here, okay, 141, 24, 30 seconds, okay, then we're going to look for price to at least come down to where we have this other support area, okay? We have that whole dead space in between, okay? Where buying may come back in, we'll be back down at 138, 20, 30 seconds in that range, okay? Now, there's a lot going on in the marketplace, but this is a really great setup. If price breaks that area, we look for that pocket of points or that dead space, or we look for a price to easily come to the other side, back down to that support. Now, I say that support simply because that looks just about like the second time. I mean, you can fudge it a little bit, but technically for me, it's the second time. So I'm just looking for this to be a target right on the other side of that support, and then that target 1, and then target 2. And as we look over to the left, we can also see that there's a pocket of points below it, okay? So in visual here, we would like to see price come down, bounce back up, wherever we have a spot there. And then now we have our 3 touches in that range, and we'll look for the breakout to the downside and price coming back down to this area here, okay? So visualizing the right side of the chart and taking the time and drawing the lines will help you formulate how you're going to handle that when the market starts moving that way, okay? All right, so I think we're good with the S&P. Now, don't be chasing things on this. You can drop down to smaller time frames. We can see that there is some areas right here now where we're looking at potentially the breakout. Okay, if you miss that entry in the zone, we're looking for that breakout to continue to the upside. Okay, but let the market settle for a moment. Okay, and we may get another opportunity to let this give us a nice little entry. Okay. We also had the zone 11,704, 11,650 on the NASDAQ. NASDAQ pulled back, got into that zone. We have to go back slow. And as price dipped into that dead space yesterday, okay, came back out, we're looking for it now as price goes up to at least clear the other side over here, okay? Up to about 12,035. I'm not really expecting that to happen all in one day, but you never say never, okay? Most of the stocks on the NQ they gapped down and now are looking to fill that gap, especially on Apple and Google and such, okay? Key things also to train your eyes and to teach yourself with is going out to like a daily chart, okay? And I want to encourage you to do the daily chart and go back and start seeing, especially on the Dow 30, NASDAQ 100, okay? Company like Amazon, AMZN, okay? Amazon yesterday came into a really nice zone. It was right in that, just on the top side of that. I think it was more easily to see on a, like a 240 or so chart. Just touched it, okay? And looking for that bounce out of there, okay? But a lot of these major stocks are coming back down to some big time frame demand areas, okay? So NASDAQ's on its way, looking for some of those sell territories up above that Caitlin pointed out, okay? I'm a little more bullish on this side, so I'm not looking to sell short up here where prices also hit several times, okay? We've got that resistance area, okay? And I couldn't find the 3 touches, even down to a 2-minute chart, I just didn't get the 2 touches to satisfy the way I look at the charts, okay? We took the Dow as the right in the prep. We took this one in the prep as we were preparing for the crude oil trade, okay? It looks like crude oil is making us sweat a little bit on that one. Yeah. Might even stop us out, but that's where our stops are in place, okay? Natural gas also looking for a short. This is a little more advanced trade, okay? With the last trade date in mind, okay, looking to sell short right up here about 9.298, 9.323. Now, I call it advanced. Simply using some forward-looking techniques, Fibonacci extensions, retracements, and such, bringing back into some of those mathematics. I mean, this is an extension move, but it's also the last trade day. Now, if you want to be a little more on the conservative side, wait for price to come into that area and then take it as it starts to break down. And what I would consider a breakdown would be below that 9.226 as more of a conservative trade, okay? I have limited risk on this, just to the other side of the zone up there, okay? So that one will be, looks like it's just missing us by 1 tick at the moment. Okay. There we go. All right, so looking good on the Dow. Okay, remember we have that pocket of points up above, so a break above this area is going to show some bullish signs, and there's wide open space there. Okay. Trying to capture as many of these little pictures as possible. Give me just a second here. Anybody get in that Dow earlier? Close it down. Okay. Well, let's just stick with your trading plan. I mean, this is we're looking at some things that are pretty bullish. Okay, and that looks like we might even be out of the woods on crude oil too. Look at that. All but one tick. Yeah, almost got us. Okay. But we're still in it. All right. So Dow's looking pretty good. We are approaching that area where we had, potential resistance. You might find some price start to slow down or hesitate. And again, we need a leg base group of candles if we're going to take the breakout. So that whole range, right in this range up here, may be some short-term selling, okay, but not a trend change, okay? So keep an eye on that one as we do. Russell, we're still in from yesterday. Yesterday we came in and took the trade up. This morning, I was thinking about adding on to position, but reluctantly did not, just because we had a couple other trades going. We can see this resistance area being used up. I anticipate price to go through it. In order to participate in a breakout trade, we will need the leg base group of candles before that, okay? Okay, if you have some of your sell territories that are coming into play, go ahead, feel free to interrupt me and just, jump in and show those trades as you have them set up.
Yeah, just real quickly, I just want to show, I think oil just caught my eye since we have been holding that sell territory that I mentioned. We've come back down to touch that support area for the third time. So I went down to the 3-minute chart, 3-minute time frame, just to get as much detail as possible. So I can see we have this consolidation over here on the left-hand side. Prices come down once, twice, 3. We're at the 4th time now. So now it's just about finding the leg base group of candles to then take the breakout to the downside. I'm going to drop down to a 2-minute. I was in the process of looking for it, but let's see if we can find it. So we have a leg, base, leg. There we go. So we've got the leg, base group of candles right there, pretty close to the breakout. There we go, leg, base, leg, base, leg, base. So our stop is going to be at 110.82 unless we do find another leg base. We even go down to the 1-minute time frame just to see if we can get it closer to the breakout point. If not, we'll have to leave it on that 2-minute leg base.
For that same trade, I have put another to take the breakout because where price was hitting. Okay, I placed at my stop loss area. I added another trade to take that breakout as well, going down to 109.25. So if it fails, I'm not going to sit there and cry about it. I'm just going to take the breakout to the downside and follow through with that.
Excellent. Okay, so we've got our stop confined, another leg base in here. So I'm going to go back up to let's do a 15-minute just to get our entry price, and we'll set up the order for the breakout. Then breaking below this support area, we do have the larger support area a little bit lower. So sell custom with stop. Breakout point is going to be, I'm going to use this wick over here. So below 110.13. That's going to be a sell stop order. And then our buy stop is going to the top of our leg base group of candles at 110.82. 10.82. Okay, confirm and send. So sell stop, taking the breakout below 110.13, and then placing our buy stop at 110.82, which is currently where we have our leg base. You can also wait to see if we form another leg base on the 1 minute time frame, just kind of watch it manifest, in which case you may be able to move your stop a little bit lower. So keep an eye on that one. Yeah, that's the one that I wanted to share. Do you want to share your screen, Jeff? Do you have the same entry price? I was just using this wick over here.
Yeah, I was looking at that on the crude oil. I was looking at that as the most recent drop in there was the third touch. Okay. So I'm looking for the bounce out of that first before taking the breakout. And sometimes, you know, I mean, this is a great place to look for a breakout to the downside, okay? And as I see, this is the first touch, second touch, now we're at the third touch, okay? This is why we use 3 touches in order to take a breakout. So not taking the breakout after 2 touches, but the third touch, okay? So as price bounces out of that area, then we'll look for opportunities there, okay? To play it in the direction of that small time frame trend, okay, outside of the open range breakout, okay, and that's another one of those little rules that I have as far as the open range breakout. If there is a buy territory or sell territory on the other side of it, okay, or close to it, then I'll look to take the trade there at the buy territory or sell territory. So if I do get stopped out, I will lose $110, okay? But at that same place, I'm going to take the trade short, which should have some momentum as price starts to drop out of there, okay? So we'll see how that one plays out as we get going there, okay? Let's see, we had Russell. Now, Kate, did you have any of the sell territories on the equity indexes that may have just hit?
Let me look. I was just so focused on oil. I see S&P is a little bit further away. NASDAQ further away. I think all mine are a little bit higher up. Actually, yeah, Russell was tested. Yeah, mine are a little bit further away. Actually, I chose the ones above kind of that resistance area that you have marked.
Oh, above the resistance area?
Yeah, I went a little bit higher up.
Okay. Dropping down to a 2-minute chart here on the Dow. Looks like we just got that third touch right there. Okay. So we'll just see, have to see how price starts to break through some of those areas. And always remember, you know, multiple touches of resistance or support, okay, are going to be places where we can expect there to be some unfilled orders there, okay? That was on the Dow. And Russell, yeah, I'm not going to take a trade short there. We can see multiple touches of resistance. Russell is also back into that dead space. And for an initial target on that, we'll look for 1797. And there's a larger time frame resistance area and a smaller time resistance area, both in the same range right there. So if we're going to take a breakout on Russell, okay, we're going to look for price to clear that 1804, okay, and then we're back into that pocket of points, okay. So a lot of evidence on the chart. It's not an easy time to navigate. It takes a lot of experience to navigate these areas, okay? And I just want you to be prepared for that, okay? The things that Kate and I are demonstrating to you is that, we have a lot of, for us, we have a lot of education behind us, okay? And we're able to take multiple techniques. We're able to take multiple places on the price chart, but always sticking to our rules as far as where we're going to enter. Okay, we gather a lot of pieces of information. Some days we're a little bit hesitant to get into a trade, and that's not always just because of the price chart. It's because some of the things we're seeing outside the price chart, and those things that we see outside the price chart are things that support our trade, like the stocks and so on that we look at. 1 second. Okay, so notice the time. We went right up into that area on each one of the equity indexes. It's a quarter after the open or 15 minutes after the open, and we're hitting, we're kind of seeing that momentum shift a little bit, which is okay. Okay, now price can consolidate and make a leg-based group of candles. Then we have an opportunity to take a breakout above the Globex high and start looking for those other sell territories that Kate was mentioning earlier. Okay. Gold is hanging out. I do have a small time frame zone, 1842, 1837 range. You can reduce the time frame to get that picture right there as far as the leg-based group of candles. Hey, crude oil, I'm going to go ahead and close that long position. Order filled. Okay. And I'm going to come back in and look to, let's just see if we got another. We don't have the new leg base. We're still looking at that stop area here. Okay. All right. So price breaking 110.22. Okay, once it does, I'm going to come back in and look and see if I can make that stop loss a little bit lower. I'd love for it to be down right in that range. Okay. My target is going to be about 109.25, which is where price came back down to yesterday. Okay, so a breakdown 110.22. I'll put my stop loss on after I'm filled 110.77 and look for a profit target 109.25, or when it feels good, I'll take the money. How's that? Okay. Natural gas did break to the upside, okay? And hate it when that happens, but I took a little loss on that, okay? I am looking for an opportunity to get into this going back to the downside, as I'm looking for price for them to sell that front month contract, and then as they roll into the back month contract, okay? But we don't have any new sell territories up here, so it's going to be some elevated risk if you participate in that, okay? And we had the bonds we talked about, okay? Bonds breaking below 141.23 32nd. Okay, we'll look for an opportunity on that. And we can see NASDAQ hit resistance, not quite there on the S&P and not quite there on the Dow, okay? Internals, getting a feel of the market. It looks like we're slightly outside the no trade zone. Tick is kind of hovering right in the middle of the range. And the trend did have a lot of buying going on yesterday, okay? As far as how we interpret the trend, okay? And I want to make sure that that's a significant point that we're watching for. Now, not every time when we're at major turns of the market, okay, are we going to get an immediate trade when the trend closes above that 2.00, okay? Now, intraday trading, we can look for a little surge, a little rally. We can use it as a defense, okay? But in order to stop a major downtrend or in front of what is potentially a bear market, if we break below this area, we will see mass liquidation from the big institutions, okay? They just have to go to cash when it breaks below or closes below that 20% off the high, okay? That's not my rules, it's their rules, okay? So they're taking some major steps to slow this market downtrend and possibly change the direction. How do we see that? Well, we see that there were consecutive days, okay, where the trend closed above 2, okay, or traded above 2 and such, okay? Now that's significant because if you think about how you drive a vehicle and if you're getting off the freeway, I mean, you're going to apply the brakes to slow down the car, right? But you're not going to stop on a dime, okay? You slow it down first, back away, slow it down, okay? So you absorb all those sell tickets. And of course, you start getting all those short traders ready to cover their positions, okay? Because as we start looking at these little pivot highs on the larger time frame, short traders are going to look to get out of their good short trades, okay? They're going to start questioning whether the trend is going to change, okay? Now, we have to anticipate that those short traders are going to get us, you know, when they come in, they're going to spike the market up, okay? The best way to ignite an uptrend is to get the shorts to cover. Now, it looks like buying going on to the novice trader, okay? Looks like buying, okay? But it's really just, it is buying, but it's buying to cover, not buying to get into a position, okay? Got something?
Yeah, just if anyone who's keeping an eye on oil right now, going down to the 1 minute time frame, we are able to bring our stop down a little bit. I think like maybe 10 ticks or so, actually maybe like 5 ticks. So 1 minute time frame, we have our leg, base, base, leg, base. So if you're setting up the order on oil and just watching it, you can cancel, replace, and then bring your stop down to 110.77. Remember, it's still a pending sell territory, so it's not considered active until we actually get that breakout move to the downside. And then just you don't have to stay on the 1 minute. You can go back out to the 15 minute just to keep an eye on it and see where things are at on the higher time frames as price starts to test this area. Again, as Jeff mentioned, that's the 3rd time we got that bounce. So now looking for that breakout to the downside. And if we do get more momentum, then we can also potentially add on to that position once price starts to break this support area as well. We just wanted to mention that. So going down to the 1 minute time frame, we're able to find the leg base group of candles.
And also on Russell, did you have a potential breakout on Russell or a resistance area?
Let me see. Russell. Yeah, tap that sell territory again that we marked from our prep screen yesterday. So that now it's looking, actually, I'll share my screen again. So I think I'm sharing the right one.
If you drop it down to a 1 minute, you might find a leg base in there where just before that breakout there.
Yeah, so we can see we had our sell territory here. Price came up in the overnight session once, twice, and we tested it a 3rd time, but we're still pushing higher. So looking for, as Jeff mentioned, the leg base on the smaller time frames. And then also notice looking left, we have this area of resistance that's been tested 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times as well. So let's go down to or if anyone else has found it, feel free to let me know. Let's see, could be forming right now. I would say just be a little bit more cautious on this breakout trade to the upside again, since it is going to be more counter trend. We may see a 1-to-1 move or a 2-to-1, but ultimately trading with the trend is going to be a little bit higher probability. So to manage your risk, we do have on the 1 minute time frame as well the leg base group of candles, which would mean placing your stop at 1767. For me, I'm not going to be taking this one just because it is a little bit more counter trend, and I'm looking for more of the short trades, but just showing you guys if you do want to take this, it might be better for a 1-to-1 move out of there.
Excellent. And the other thing that I'll just point out is you can see that pattern that Caitlin has on her chart right there, and that little pattern is often referred to as like a diamond shape. Okay, I can kind of express that a little bit more. Okay, but also notice that price based right there within about 1-to-1 of that zone. Okay, and when price starts basing below your sell territory or your buy territory, and you take the measurement, the distance of your territory there, and you start to see that it's within 1-to-1, often we can get that pop, we can get the pullback, and then we can see price go through it, okay? And, you know, noticing the time of day, we're about 4 minutes to the top of the hour, looking for a 10 o'clock reversal, okay? And on that 1 minute chart, you could see that there was a buy territory back down to at the origin of the move. Okay, so if price should break back below that 1767, we might be looking downward to right around that 1757, 10 points lower in that area for next buy opportunity. Okay, so as you can tell, there's a lot of different things happening in the market today that were not happening yesterday or the day before, okay? The tone has changed, and we want to be more aware of that. We have a lot more economic reports. We have Fed meeting or minutes coming out, okay? Which is really just a moot point, okay? Because the Fed minutes have been available for everybody to see for a while now, since the FOMC meeting, okay? So the market's kind of hinging on that because we have enough participants that are waiting to see what the Fed says, and then they're going to jump in, okay? Whether it's going long or short. And hopefully the Fed is now filled its pockets enough that they're going to start to send the markets back to the upside a little bit and see if we can break this downtrend, okay?
And a good point that you made, Jeff, I just want to kind of add on to that. If you want to see if price is basing within 1-to-1, so on Thinkorswim, you can use your trend line tool, measure the size of your sell territory, and then I just right-clicked it and did duplicate, and then I moved it down, and you can see from that sell territory, as Jeff mentioned, that's where price currently is basing right now and consolidating. So typically within that 1-to-1, we may see that breakout. So nice little odds enhancer that you mentioned there. And I think oil, we're still waiting on right now. Is it holding our sell territory, our pending one? Let's see. Yes, so still holding our pending sell territory. So we're not in it yet, and it doesn't change to a active sell territory until we get that breakout move. But we can see we're still holding it at 110.77. Jeff, I'll let you share your screen, but a couple of things that we're keeping an eye on right now.
Excellent. Yeah, sorry, I was distracted over here with another chart. And I broke down that natural gas. Okay, I got stopped out on the first one. Okay, and now dropping down to a smaller time frame, I went down to a 2 minute, found the base. And now I'm still looking for that opportunity to take the break down at 9.166. Now, watch how price is getting into this, we call that the dead space in between here. Okay. So we're looking for price to easily cut through that. Now, I don't have an opportunity to take it short into that range just yet. Okay. I'm actually going to wait for it to break that 9.166, okay? And as I go back out to a little larger time frame to kind of see where all of that is at, okay, breaking below, give myself a stop, and then I'm looking for price to continue. Keeping in mind that last trade date is one of the main reasons I'm looking to go and participate in this. Now, if you've never traded this product before, keep in mind, if you're on the wrong side, it can leave a mark, okay? It's gonna hurt. So you can paper trade this several times to see how it fits out, okay? Now, with the last trade date tomorrow and with natural gas report, we might see a stronger push down should there be any challenges with the report that comes out, okay? Let's see, we've got NASDAQ hanging out and S&P. So the markets have slowed down a little bit. Dow's still hanging out right here, just below that. So it's kind of like support and resistance. But again, the way we define support and resistance, we need 3 touches. I didn't quite have the 3 touches on the Dow here, okay? And as we just pointed out on the Russell, dropping down to a smaller time frame, even a 1-minute chart, you can start to see where price is basing right in that resistance area. Okay, so a break above that area, may even want to adjust it to about 1778.23. Looking for that push up. Stop loss still has to be down a little bit lower, unless there's another leg base that forms at that breakout. And keep in mind, we're now at the 10 o'clock hour, okay, at the top of the hour. So we might see that little volatility push. We only have one economic report, and it doesn't usually have a very high impact, okay? Crude oil, still basing sideways, coming off of that support, okay? We still have that trade set up to take trade short, 110.22. Looking for the breakout. Let's see what else. Now, let's see. I got the Dow is pushing up. Okay. How many are still in some of these trades? Bullish or bearish, it doesn't matter. You know, the ones that we're pointing out here. Everybody's on the sideline. Took some profits, Scott says, okay. Okay, Clark says no trades yet, good. And that's okay, because these market conditions are much different than what we've seen over the last couple of days. Taking some small profits, okay. And here comes Russell coming around the far outside, looking for it to break above that range, okay. Notice it, you know, it had this sell territory, or the sellers came in, and we had sell tickets here, and they've taken out the sellers, Now it's possible we're going to break through this area. Now, keep in mind, and you may even want to extend your dead space across so you understand where we are at in all of this, okay? Why do we highlight the dead space? Well, because price often moves through that. It enables us to stay in the trade a little bit longer, okay? When we see this environment. Now, you're always going to manage the trade based on your risk parameters, okay? And you're going to, oh, thanks for that, Daniel. Yeah, Stock Traders Almanac. If you don't have one and you're new to trading, get one, okay? It's just, you need it, okay? Stock Traders Almanac is going to give you a lot of really good information about how to see what is things that have happened in the past, okay? And then looking forward. It's just statistics and analysis, okay? And use it, not to make a trade. The trade setups are going to be off of a buy territory or sell territory, okay? But understanding what typically happens or how many times it has happened over many years can also be something that we're looking at, okay? Stock picks for today. I have a few trades that were in. All of them are set up. Looks like we just got an AR. Let's see. Yeah, we're up 37 bucks on 100 shares. CNC has not met the entry yet. Okay. Northrop Grumman, not yet made our entry. Kind of hope it doesn't. It's one of those more expensive ones and it takes up a lot of my margin. And also Sanderson Farms has not met entry yet. And also WEC has not. Okay, now today in the afternoon session that Caitlin mentioned earlier about, we're going to go into a little more of these stock picks, start looking around at some of them, see what they're doing. Like we have ROP. Okay, it's still in play, okay, but was up significantly at that low point, but has not disrupted the overall trend. It's still to the downside. You can see that if we were to use just a regular chart on here, could you see that this was potentially the breakout and now price coming back up to retest these areas? Okay. Keep in mind, all the stock picks have some very specific rules as we use them and apply them, and we let them work out, okay? And we're doing that with 100 shares on each one of those positions, and you're seeing that up above, okay? Ooh, Lilly. We got Lilly yesterday. And even on 100 shares, this can be a nice little return, especially if you're trading options, okay? Is you buy a call option or sell a put, depending on the direction of the trade. And on 100 shares, we're still up $2.55, okay? So if you had the pockets to do 1,000 shares, you'd be up about 2,500 bucks at this point, okay? But you don't have to, you can use the setups, you don't have to stay in them the whole time. You can use these as active income as well. All right, let's see. Equity indexes are starting to get another push. Let's come back down here to the Russell. And I was hoping it made a different leg base. Still being created. If this turns into a leg base group of candles here, we got the leg, the base, leg out. Now we're looking for another base. If that happens, then we can adjust our stop up to 1772, okay? Right now, it's currently at 1767. Breakout above this last level, or if you took it a little early, you're in it, you sat through a little of the wiggle, and now you're looking for price to at least clear the rest of the dead space, 1796, 1797, looking for the other side of that. Okay. So if you want to participate in that, and you have not yet, make sure the leg base group of candles completely formed, and then look to take the breakout 1779 and 60 cents. Okay. And your stop loss, if that is a leg base right there, your stop loss will be at 1772 and approximately 60 cents. Okay, come on, crude oil, do something for us. Natural gas hanging out. Gold approaching a buy territory, 1842, 70 cents, 1837, 90 cents, okay? Examine that area. Gold often overshoots some of these smaller time frame zones. So make sure you do your research and understand your risk on a trade, or wait for it to go a little bit lower and then take it on the way back out. All right, so we do have a new leg base on the Russell. Okay, which is going to move our adjusted our stop loss up. And I can set that trade up. I'm already in it, so I'm going to probably add one more contract on there. We've got a half a position, half a mini. No, I would need more. So anyways, 17.79, 70 cents. I'll add on one more contract or micro contract on that, looking to help with that move. Okay. Let's take the dots off. And we can return to the larger time frame. Okay. It looks like we got a piece of that. Prior session's high would be an initial target. Okay. Which is going to be right about that 1788.80 cents. Okay. And we're still 4 minutes away from the next quarter hour. So be on the defense, okay, and manage your risk according to your trade plan. Okay. So there's another opportunity to add on. And we took that opportunity. Are you guys keeping up, or am I going too fast? Okay, good, Cindy. Okay. How you doing out there, Chris? I know sometimes I go a little too fast. Okay. Which one are you setting up on? Hi, Maddie. Okay. You're setting up on gold. Okay. A couple other things I wanted to point out here as we're going through this is, you know, a lot of folks don't pick up on this. You know, what is the Davos? Okay, why is that important? Does anybody understand what happens at these meetings? Yeah, it's like a cabal, I guess you could say, and you're not far off, okay? But these are the people that manage the world, okay? And what goes on in it. You know, you have the other terminology that kind of gets skated under is like the G20. Well, this is like the G7, okay? So you have the 20 that represent a lot of major countries, and then you have the ones that manage that group there, okay? So what comes out of here is not always an immediate trade, okay? But it is information of a direction on where they want to go. And you may have heard the term, don't fight the Fed, okay? But you don't fight these guys either, okay? US dollar also, we just hit a resistance area. US dollar going lower would also make the euro go higher, okay? And the euro, if it starts breaking down, we're going to start to see some influxes in our equity indexes, okay? Let's see, trend is back on the low side. It was high in the pre-market. Got the dollar. Advancing issues over declining issues. So we're starting to see a little bit more on the buying side. Okay. How many are participating in the Russell? Small profit. Okay. Now remember, go back and rewatch what we were talking about in the dead space, okay? See, when you're in that dead space, and I don't want to imply that you cannot take a small profit if that's part of what you want, okay? But understanding that dead space, understanding the pocket of points and how that impacts things, okay? It's, it's something that we have to be very, very cautious of because it helps us assess profit margin potential, okay? And that's a key importance there. All right, Dow, we're still in our Dow trade. We got 2 micros on that, okay? Now, if you've also, if you're working with a small account, maybe you should go back and look at one of our online classes that we have, which is trading futures on a budget. Okay. Thanks, Daniel. I like that stuff. You know, when everybody thinks it's conspiracy, it's usually got a lot of facts behind it. Okay. They only say it's conspiracy because they don't want to deal with the reality. My opinion. I'll keep that off the table. All right, S&P still working its way up. We do have a small sell territory here. And we're basing just below it, okay? I can't remember the time frame I went down on that. Just try 1 minute. Yeah, let me readjust it. Right up there. I think it was on a 3 minute that I captured that one. The challenge with that sell territory right there is price has been there several times, and I didn't quite get the 3 touches over here. Okay. I can kind of fudge it, I guess. I like something a little more definitive. Okay, a little more easy so it doesn't confuse people. Okay, but yet again, okay, understanding the little bigger picture, we have that big pocket of points up here. This was an overnight low volume drop. Price starts getting back up into that area, and also look across. If we extend this here, okay, we can see that that is part of that dead space going on there. Okay. And looking to get to the other side of that dead space, looking at 4,043. Okay. Now, it's also important, especially on these Wednesdays, okay, that you guys pay attention to the prep screen that Caitlin does here at the beginning and at the end, because these are going to be some zones, some areas to be watching for on a little bit larger time frames, and also looking to see what may happen over the next day or two, okay? All right. Looks like IBM, Goldman Sachs more on the flat side. IBM also basing, at least on the short term. NASDAQ is showing a little bit of life, okay? Starting to see some green candles here on the small time frames here. I guess that one. Not on our 3 minute. There we go. Okay, so we're starting to see a little bit of a push on the NASDAQ related stocks. Also note that we're in a dead space, and as price gets closer to that Globex high, we're going to monitor this real close to see if we have a late base group of candles. Right now we do have one. And again, assess your risk. And if this is outside your risk parameters, okay, then it's okay. Just simply avoid taking the trade, okay? But the breakout's still pretty far away, and I'd like something a late base, a little bit closer to that, okay? But the fact that the NASDAQ stocks are moving up is what's going to drive the NASDAQ futures. All right, Dow is also approaching that breakout to the upside area. Zone 3245. And let's drop down smaller time frame. Start looking in that basing area. Okay. Now, another key thing about watching these base areas right here, which is turn that down a little bit, okay, is when we had that move up before we had that first pullback, okay? And what I'm referencing here is this little pullback right here, okay? Now, when we have those little pullbacks like that, we like to see that if momentum is going to continue, often it pulls back to a 23.6 or 38.2. Goes below the 38.2, it's going to be part of a different structure, okay? And so we're still looking at a little bit of that momentum and push, okay? Now, the breakout trade is right here on the Dow is 32.45, 32,045. Based on our rules here to lead trade, we're looking for a leg base group of candles, okay? And let's do that 2 minute. 1 minute. 2 minute base candles. Okay, so wow, 31,851. That's a lot of risk. Okay, if you're going to take a breakout on the Dow, okay, find your parameters that are going to help you manage that risk. Right now, stop loss will be at 31,851. Okay, the above target areas, okay, 32,548. If you're looking to stay in the trade for a little bit longer, okay. Yeah. Are you taking any of these short, Kate, off of this? Or is there something you're seeing in the marketplace that may make you hesitate to take a short trade at this moment?
Yeah, I'm just waiting right now because my sell territories are a little bit further away. So even though we're having this move to the upside, I always think, you know, the institutions need to push price to where they're trying to get it to the point where they're willing to sell. So I'm just being a little bit cautious in the meanwhile, and then waiting for my sell territories that are still a little bit further away.
Excellent. Thanks for the update. Yeah, just let us know anytime you are getting ready to place a trade, and then we'll flip the mic. We'll flip it right back over to you.
Thanks. Still waiting.
How many are participating in the Russell? Anybody? All right, here we go. Way to go. Atta girl. And by the way, the blue thing, that wasn't planned at all. It just happens every once in a while we get on the same page. Yeah.
I was thinking too.
Or on the other hand, we both look good in blue. How's that?
We'll go with that.
All right. Now, I hope you understand a little bit more of my reason of going long for short-term trade off of this. Has a lot to do with that, that dead space. Now, Caitlin also mentioned that we have an upcoming 3-day course where we have the Mastering the Charts. I do want to let everybody know that as we get this newest coaching session out of the way or completed, then we'll be starting our focus on that. Now, there's going to be some more modifications to that material, okay? And that first course, the Mastering the Charts, is really training the eyes to see the picture, training the brain, training the eyes to see everything, okay? And then later on, we'll have the trading aspect of it. But some of the things to include will be a little bit more definition, a little more details on how we approach these stocks, or approach the trade setups that we're looking at, and how we're putting together. So I think you'll see some modifications in that. It'll be a really great presentation for that. Hopefully you guys can attend. And of course, many of you are covering your tuition by being back here in the live trading room with us as well. And that's what it's all about. All right, YM also approaching that breakout point. Okay, watch the time of day. Let's drop down and see if we have that leg base, if anything new has formed. Boy, it's almost like you need a 2.5 minute chart. Oh, no, maybe, hold on. Yeah, that will work as long as it holds. I like small risk. Okay, so breakout 32.45. Okay, 32,045. Stop loss 31,966. And of course, we're looking for a good profit margin. Okay, but we're not looking for that whole pocket of points just on a breakout trade. Okay, see, the breakout trades are just that initial push. Okay, then we're waiting for price to come back and then take us up. Okay, so just be prepared to take earlier profits on that. Okay, so I am going to set this trade up. Breakout 32,045. I'm going to add on to the position that I have. I currently have 2 micros. I'll add 2 more micros on there. And then for the whole position, I'll come back in and place an adjusted, or adjust my stop loss on all 4 contracts if I'm filled at 31,966. Okay, and also, let's as we're approaching the other side of this, we need to expect that 78% of the time, 3 out of 4 times, price is going to bounce off of a resistance or a support. Okay, so 3 out of 4 times, price is going to pull back before it breaks out. So I'm looking at that 1796, 1797. That's where I'm going to close my position. Wait for a new leg-based group of candles, and then take the pocket of points to the upside. Okay, and just keep in mind that we need a new leg-based group of candles before taking that breakout there. Okay, are you guys following along? We doing okay? Seems like a lot of you guys got a death grip on the mouse at the moment. Okay, NASDAQ, here we are. Okay, NASDAQ in that dead space, same as the other ones. You can see how a lot of these are coming into play. Let's see if we can get that leg base. That's still down there. Let's try 1 minute. Don't have it. Okay. So NASDAQ has the breakout, but no leg base group of candles. If I use a leg base, my stop loss is 11,757. Too much risk for me. Okay. S&P also at the breakout area. Okay. Let's see if we have that leg base. Bada bing, 2 minute chart. Loss 39.37 area. The breakout is imminent. So what would be a better play? Let the breakout happen and pull back, or be aggressive on the breakout and take just a little pocket of point or a little points. Okay. So you have to be prepared. See, the breakout trade is not where the trend usually starts. It's the retest. Okay. So we'll keep that order filled in place. All right. We just added on 2 more contracts to the Dow. Okay. And I'm going to come down here and adjust my stop loss. And I'm going to have to pass the mic over to Caitlin. Actually, I'll adjust my stop loss as Caitlin goes into the close and shows us some of the other zones, and also preparing for any of those sell territories that we have coming up.
Thanks, Jeff. I'm just keeping an eye on oil right now since we did have the oil report come out. We saw price just dropped. I don't know if you guys were looking at that, dropped into that support area again. Let's keep an eye on this leg base pending group of candles again. Just keep in mind, we're still waiting right now. We have that resistance area up at the top that's been tested several times already. Support area as well has been tested. So we're really just in between where those buy and sell territories are at. So just waiting, seeing a little volatility, but if we do come back down, breaking that support area, then currently our leg base group of candles is going to be pretty far away. Yeah, so right now it's still holding. Our stop is going to be at 110.99. So if we do come back down, ideally we'll look for what we did before, look for another leg base group of candles, place our stop above, and then take the breakout to the downside. We're just seeing that volatility with the report coming out. So recap screen, pretty easy. So all I did was I took our buy and sell territories from our intro screen, pasted them over because none of them have hit today. The past couple of days, we've just seen the markets being very choppy and sideways price action, not easy trading environments. So some of you guys are doing amazing with the trade setups, but some of these are a little bit further out, so just keep that in mind. But these are all take a screenshot of that, and then I'll just go over them. So S&P 15 time frame. So we're having that big move to the upside, but now, as I mentioned, I'm still a little bit cautious just with the higher time frame trend being to the downside. We do have our 1 minute sell territory just above. I'm going to be keeping an eye on. That's going to be at 3978.75 with our stop at 3982.5. We can also see this one is where we had the origin of that huge gap to the downside. So potentially some unfilled sell orders left behind there.
The Russell is approaching that area where we were going to look to take a profit. Could I get you to switch to the Russell and do your analysis on that one?
Absolutely.
Thanks.
On it. Okay, so we have our resistance area up here. We can see here's where price was basing, tested it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, approaching the 7th time. So breakout point, we wanted to clear this stack of sell tickets here, since this is where we're seeing that this is where the institutions were accumulating their sell orders. Price dropped and it's been using up that area several times. So taking the breakout would take it above this high point, which is going to be at 1803.9. But then I do just want to caution you, looking to the left. So let me zoom out a little bit. We do have this 5 minute sell territory just above, and you can see that it was created on higher volume during the regular trading hours. Just very much would caution you, things that are sticking out in my mind is that this would be a counter trend breakout trade. And then also profit potential is going to be very limited since our sell territory is just above that area. So again, for me, this is one I wouldn't take just because we have our sell territory right here and it is counter trend again. But just want to point out that setup for you guys. And then of course you would have to go down to the smaller time frames to find your leg base group of candles, which currently it's very, very far away from what it seems. So a lot of things may not be lining up with this one. Leg base, we'd have to go all the way back down to looks like 1772 area to get to, and we just have this huge move to the upside. So taking the breakout and having to place your stop down here, just understanding that you're going to be taking on a lot of additional risk there. Blue in S&P long, what would be a good target one? Let's take a look. We'll do S&P. So we do have that 1 minute sell territory just above. We are having this pretty big move to the upside right now. I would say target is going to be this 1 minute sell territory, which is at the origin of that gap to the downside. And that's going to be at 3978.75. And then if we clear that area, so say price intersects with the sell territories and starts pushing higher, then it may be a good place to add on. Just looking back and to the left, it looks like that's where we have another big pocket of points above this. So we could see our next target being all the way up at 4066.75. So a little speed bump here, but again, if we pull back and we start to push higher, we do have this pocket of points right over here to the upside, if you are looking to take that breakout to the upside. Nice job, Lou. Do NASDAQ, smaller time frame. So it looks like, okay, so NASDAQ hit our 1 minute sell territory. Anyone get into that? I missed it. Nice job, Cindy. So we can see we're getting a small bounce. I'm wondering where that leg base group of candles is though. Because again, we had that strong move. So just make sure if you're taking the short trade, or actually, yeah, no, my bad. So it would be taking the short there and then placing our stop above. And then price, if price does come back down, just finding our opposing buy territory. Looks like we may find one at the origin of this move to the upside. You can see below this resistance area. So that's NASDAQ. Let me go back up to the 15 minutes. So we did tap that. And then if we get above that area, not a whole lot in the way. So again, another situation where we do have a big pocket of points above this area, looking to the left. You can see this huge move to the downside. We have a lot of room to run if we start to break above these highs. And then also noticing we do have this resistance area that's been tested several times already. So another potential breakout point right above here, this resistance, and then pocket of points to the left. Buy territory has been tested. I think the other one's a little bit further away from our prep screen. That's going to be more of a target price. And then again, just if we get that breakout, looking for our opposing sell territory, that's going to be right above that pocket of points at, let's see, 12,478.1. You can see looking left, here's where we have that support. We have the breakout to the downside. So leg base group of candles right above. Going over to the Russell. The Russell we were looking at, let me just go back down to the 10-minute. So nice odds enhancer, Jeff. Shout out to you for mentioning the basing within 1-to-1. You can see how well, it worked out where price tapped it. We pulled back about that 1-to-1 move, started consolidating, and then price just blasted through that area. So nice odds enhancer to incorporate into your trade plan. Again, we're right at that breakout point on the Russell. So if you do choose to take the breakout, just make sure you find your leg base group of candles. And then breakout would be above this high at 1803.9. And then, oh yeah, and then Russell. So we do have our opposing sell territory. So this one's going to be a little limited as far as profit potential. But then above that, we should see some more momentum to the upside.
Yeah, if you look at your 2-minute chart on the Russell, as it's right there at that breakout point, okay, and I've got out a 1, 3, I'm trying to find a way to splice into that, and your buy territory is much lower, right? Same place I have mine drawn is where you have yours. But notice how the candles were just sweeping up. Okay, you got consecutive green candles going up, small ones like that. And then, for those that have a matrix, you can look over at the volume. It's just very light volume that the market is pushing through here. So this is where we're seeing some of that short squeeze come into play, okay, where traders are getting stopped out, okay? So we want to make sure all the rules apply, okay? We're right there at that time of day where we could look at that pullback back down to that buy territory. So you can play these markets to the upside and to the downside based on your trading plan, okay? So I don't want anybody in the room to think that we're conflicting in what we're saying, okay? Part of Caitlin's trading plan is very, very strong on trend direction. And she's very disciplined on that being part of her trading plan, okay? And she doesn't deviate from it, and that's okay. There can be short-term counter trend trades and there can be longer-term trades as long as you understand which ones fit your trading plan and your risk management. So now, anybody get that trade short? I'll get out of the way. I'm sorry. It's just getting to be a pretty exciting trading day. And, yesterday we had some long trades, we had short trades, then long trades, and everything worked out pretty good. So looks like the big players are back in the market finally.
Yeah, great input, Jeff. And yeah, why the leg base is so important is just because if we do get that breakout and we don't have the leg base, as Jeff mentioned, it's such light volume that price theoretically could come all the way back down to where we do have the leg base, which is all the way down here. So you just need to be prepared that if price doesn't get a strong move up, where could price potentially come back down to? That's going to be where you have your leg base group of candles. So managing your risk would be there unless we do form the leg base closer to the breakout, then obviously that would be more ideal. And then we'll wrap it up with the Dow. So seeing some more momentum to the upside, 15-minute time frame. We did break that resistance area. We had the 3 touches breaking out to the upside. Doesn't seem to be a whole lot in the way. There we go. So breakout to the upside. We do have a pocket of points over here. If you are in that breakout, then pocket of points over here, we'd be looking at target price of 32,489, which is going to be this area over here. You can see looking left, we have this support area. Price broke out to the downside, and then we have our 9-minute leg base group of candles at 32,489. Alrighty, I think that's all I got. What's going on? All right, lastly, oil. All right, we're still waiting, and we still have our leg base group of candles. It did not violate this pending sell territory. Yeah, a whole lot of waiting today. So if we do get that breakout to the downside, I'm not seeing another one closer yet, but see if we get another bounce. And then again, if you do have the leg base, bring your stop down a little bit so you're not risking as much on the trade setup.
Try a 2-minute chart.
You find it?
Yeah.
Let's see.
It doesn't shave a lot off, but it shaves a little bit.
A little bit is better than nothing at all. So let's do it. We'll bring it down. Good call, Jeff. Brings us down to our stop being at 110.87. There we go. Just getting it real close to that breakout point. Then taking the breakout below that support area, then placing your stop at 110.87 or 110.88.
And also, if you can zoom out a little bit on that 5-minute chart, okay, you can see that whole area where we have the order to take the breakout at 110.20-ish, okay. Notice that this morning's action, okay, was the 3rd bounce, okay, off of that area, okay. I also want you guys to pay close attention to how far it bounced up to validate that there were still some unfilled orders there. Okay. See, if we need that third touch, needs to take out those, or the rest of the buyers there. And then it'll look for a lower level. Where do you have your profit target set for that one?
So I was seeing it as a little bit further away because we're really within that consolidation area on oil. And I don't think I found any quality buy territories on my end. I just saw this other support area where we may be able to add on below this support area, and then a pocket of points just below that. So target could be further away from what I'm seeing. Here's another breakout area as well. What do you have?
Well, I have it's almost like what some folks refer to as a flip zone. Okay, so I'm still looking at a 5-minute chart. And we did have a little resistance area right in that same area, which was in the overnight session.
Or do you want to share your screen?
Yeah. I was you pretty much had everything drawn on there as well. I just going a little bit detailed on that. Okay, so right over here after yesterday's session, okay, we had multiple touches of this area where price pushed down. And then once it broke through, it then found like old resistance becomes new support. Okay, so this whole area has been used up quite a bit. Okay, and I know we're kind of stretching over here a little bit further. Okay, and we can certainly expand on some of these topics and some of the details and things that Caitlin and I are going through right now. We're trying to put as much of what we teach into each one of these live trading rooms. Okay, now we don't have enough time to keep teaching here, and that's why Caitlin has, really wanted to come up with this the coaching session. Okay, and where we kind of do an overview and put things together. So during that coaching session, we can take the things that we have learned this week, based on large time frames, all the way back down to what we're looking at. Where was I here? Oh, we're on oil. Okay, and what we've looked at here. Okay, so as we're setting up on that trade, I did have this little area. Okay, right at the beginning of this move up as a potential target at 109.81. Okay, and order filled. Looks like we were just filled on it. I just wanted to double check and see if I could get my stop loss a little closer. All right, what a way to end the session, huh?
There we go. It took the
All
whole
right,
session.
I was trying to stall just long enough, okay? Now you got that trade too. You want to show your chart? I think you took a mini contract where I took a couple micros.
Well, I took my order off before when it started bouncing back up, so I didn't actually get into it. You did a couple micros, 05.
Yeah, I was like, man, I got out of that too soon. No, it was the right trade, but there was a lot of opportunities here. So 109.81, and then it drops down to a fresh area that you were pointing out a little bit further away underneath all of that. Okay, we have to come back down. I think you had this area marked as well, and looks like we might have one just a little lower as okay. And we can see also that the market is mainly going sideways, but because we're using that small time frame area, we're able to make some intraday profits using the same pictures on the price chart as the larger time frame. Okay. So anybody get any of those trades that we have been talking about this morning? We had Russell that we're still in. Now we're looking for Russell to get that leg base so we can take the breakout. We have the Dow. The Dow actually broke out and came back and retested, okay? And some of you may have gotten wiggled out of that trade. But come back and look at, finding that leg base, got the breakout, and now the pullback, okay? So in a way, you could tighten up your stop at this point, because we still have that pocket of points to the upside, okay? So if you miss breakout trades, okay, some people really like the breakout trades, they like the momentum, but often they stay way too long. And that's been a challenge for me as well, okay? So the supply and demand trades, coming back to waiting for the breakout, waiting for the price to come back, are also really good, or even better opportunities, and often less risk, okay? So how'd you guys do today? All right, Scott, best day short on natural gas, 1,400 bucks. Did I miss that one? No. Oh, you got it off top. Okay. Yeah, natural gas, I broke it down to a much smaller time frame, and now you can see how price went right through that dead space. Even on a small time frame, the same pictures work. And we have that breakout that we're looking for right there, about 9.169, looking for last trade date. So there should be some selling of the front month contract, or getting out of it, which will put some pressure for the move back down, okay? So a lot of good things. I hope to see all of you in the coaching session tomorrow night. It's gonna be quite detailed. I think you'll be pretty excited. The other thing is I will be in the Discord group tomorrow, okay? So I'll jump in there right around the session open. Now the Discord group is just for me to observe and kind of step in, or for Caitlin or I to observe, and we'll step in if we see something needs to be corrected. But we're also using that Discord group to better our products, okay? Yeah, Daniel's looking for somebody to do the prep in the morning. And if you don't, yeah, put yourself out there. I can still remember, it was about a year ago that I had to put Caitlin in the hot seat because I had to go to work, and she had to do the live trading room. And that's when we were presenting it on Ticker Talker at that time. But anyways, you start doing those activities and you can see how much Caitlin has grown over the last year. And she's done some amazing, amazing transformations and her strategies and also becoming very disciplined. It's all because you start putting together pieces of information to help you assess your risk and in the trade environment and such, okay? Whew. All right, did everybody type in how much money they made? I was sorry, I got on a soapbox, started looking at my charts, okay? All right, so we got Randy, nice, Patrick, Cindy, great job, Cindy. Okay.
Chris, how are you doing? I see Chris was in oil. We had a little bit of a pullback, but could just be a corrective move back up, and we may see another big move to the downside. You still in it, Chris, or is anyone else in oil? Nice. Great job, Chris.
All right, so yeah, we keep going over and over on these things. So we're just excited to share a lot of this information with you. Excited to see trades are working out better right now. And it's greatly because of the market environment. So if you haven't already signed up for the coaching session tomorrow, I would highly recommend that you get that done. There'll be a lot that we're going to cover. You might even see the trades that we've been taking. Well, you will see the trades we've been taking through the live trading room over the last few days. And you're going to get to see what we're doing and putting all together. And Caitlin just posted the link in there if you want to participate in that. Okay. All right. I got to get off here. Everybody have a wonderful trading day, and great job, everybody, for just following the rules. Okay.
Great job, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good day, everyone.